Good morning on this early Friday morning. It is May 26, 2017. We did have a complex of thunderstorms that was moving through Kansas, as you can tell right here, through central parts of Missouri. It is now in a broken line of showers and a couple of rumbles of thunder, but nothing as of this recording is severe with that line. The atmosphere is going to be pretty capped over our neck of the woods today. Capped meaning that there will be a warm layer of air aloft that will keep thunderstorms the most part from forming. We could see a thunderstorm or two that could pop up and become severe very briefly, but it's mainly tomorrow evening, Saturday evening and Saturday night, and that is why I am making this video right now as one out of two updates. I will make another video concerning the severe potential for tomorrow night. I will make another video tomorrow, and then I will also make another video tomorrow that will be the weekly weather briefing. So a lot to cover over the next 24 to 48 hours, but the main severe weather potential is for Saturday evening and Saturday night. Today, that cap is going to keep a lid on the atmosphere for the most part and will keep majority of thunderstorm development from becoming available today. But we can see a couple showers or maybe a rumble of thunder with a storm or two that will come through the region. A mix of sun and clouds, breezy conditions. If you're heading out on the lake today, the first day of Memorial Day weekend, if you're celebrating out on the lake today, make sure that you are aware that wind gusts could top 30 miles an hour today, and that could cause some boats to become vulnerable to capsizing. So make sure that you are aware of that, as especially if you are traveling east to west across the lake, as those winds will be coming out of the south. As we look at the Futurecast radar for Saturday evening and Saturday night, we're going to first walk you through today, where we can see a couple of showers, as you can tell right here, but nothing out of the ordinary. This is even getting it overdone just a little bit, as it usually does. The NAM3KM model, probably just going to be a shower or two dotting radar. Now, as we get into tonight, one model in particular does show a complex of thunderstorms forming, and then eventually moving into our neck of the woods. I don't think that's going to happen. This model shows no complex of thunderstorms, but I'm confident that there will be a line of thunderstorms that will form somewhere in Iowa and Missouri and will move into Illinois, northern Illinois, and northern and central parts of Indiana. I do not think that we will be hit by those storms tonight. Low confidence on the potential of those storms coming down to our neck of the woods. High confidence that they will stay up here in portions of Iowa, Missouri, moving into Illinois and Indiana. Not to say that there couldn't be a complex or two of storms form in our neck of the woods, but I do not think that the main complex that will be moving through the Midwest tonight will end up seeing or reaching our neck of the woods for later on tonight. That's not what I'm worrying about. Once again, mainly this complex of storms that forms on Saturday afternoon and evening, and that complex of storms will begin to form very rapidly and strengthen very rapidly, and it will move off to the south and east, bringing with it gusty winds. A couple of tornadoes are not out of the question. Large hail, once again, not out of the question. One of the big questions is, do we see supercells, which are those very big, tall thunderstorms that form strong to long-lived tornadoes? They usually contain very severe wind gusts, also large hail at the same time. If we see a couple of those supercells form ahead of this line on Saturday evening and then early on Saturday night, we could very well up or increase that severe weather potential. Even if the line of storms forms and we do not see any supercells, that line of storms itself is going to be producing some very strong winds, large hail, and potentially a couple of isolated QLCS tornadoes, which are very short-lived tornadoes, hard to warn on. If you are at the lake this weekend, make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. Make sure that you know where to go in case you need to seek shelter. Most campgrounds do have a place for shelter, but the place is certainly not going to be to stay in your camper. That is a mobile home and is very vulnerable to getting knocked over by the wind very easily. It does not take very much, and especially with QLCS tornadoes forming, very hard to warn on. More than likely, if a QLCS tornado forms near your neck of the woods in the LBL region, you're not going to get a warning on it, and it's going to hit instantly. They last a couple of seconds, up to a minute at the most, and they do their job. They go back up, they're done. So make sure that you are aware of that. Even with these thunderstorms moving through, if there are no tornado warnings, just severe thunderstorm warnings, the atmosphere will be very prime on Saturday night to produce a quick tornado or two. So make sure that even with the thunderstorms moving through, that you go ahead and seek shelter anyways, because the storms will have a very prime atmosphere to work with tomorrow night for the potential to produce a tornado or two. Let's go ahead and look at a couple of maps from the NAM guidance, not the NAM 3KM, but just the NAM guidance itself. And I want to show you basically our temperatures for Saturday are going to be getting very warm. We're looking at high temperatures more than likely going to be reaching the mid to upper 80s. Some of us could even touch 90 degrees. Very muggy air as well. Dew points are going to be rising into the low to mid 70s, something we wouldn't even see until we reached mid-July to August, and then combining with temperatures close to 90 degrees, as you can tell. Those high temperatures on Saturday, according to this model, rising into the mid-80s. Look at that, 88 degrees getting showed by the NAM in the Poplar Bluff area. So these numbers are not going to be exact, but just take the general idea that those temperatures on Saturday afternoon are going to be getting very warm, and that's just going to be more fuel to the fire for those storms on Saturday evening. If we look at the PWatt values, this is basically if you were to squeeze all the moisture into one column in the atmosphere from top to bottom. This is showing you how much moisture. And typically, if we see anything over an inch and a half, we're looking at very excessive totals. Let alone we're looking at ones over or close over 2 inches in portions of our area as we move into Saturday night. So basically, the higher the PWatt value, we're looking at the greater potential for torrential downpours. So make sure that you are not caught out in this storm. If you have any relatives coming in for Memorial Day, make sure that if they are traveling overnight Saturday night, that they are aware of what county they're in, that they are aware of that severe potential moving into our region, because you do not want to be caught out on the roads during this either because of those heavy downpours. Visibilities will be reduced. We're looking at a lot of lightning, because I will show you the CAPE values, which is how much energy we have to work with. A lot of energy for these storms as well. Let's go ahead and look at that. The lapse rate, I'm not going to show you. Basically, the lapse rates are how destable the atmosphere is going to become, and those are going to be very high as well. A lot of ingredients, guys, really shaping up for this potential of severe weather tomorrow night. I do want everybody to have their weather radios on and available. Make sure that you have any text alerts that you need to turn on. Make sure that you are aware, because these storms will be coming through while you are sleeping Saturday night, and you will not know anything about it. To seek shelter until you are told to do so, and make sure that you do that when those storms move in, because these will be very, very susceptible to producing quick tornadoes, damaging winds, and even large hail. Damaging winds can do just as much damage as a tornado can do, so please seek shelter even if you are not under a tornado warning, because the atmosphere, like I have said multiple times already, is very prime to producing a quick tornado, a quick severe wind gust, and that could potentially be life-threatening to you. The CAPE values, surface-based CAPE, is showing that tomorrow evening we're looking at CAPE values. Really, at a minimum, we would need around 1,000 joules. We're looking at values from 4,000 to 6,000 joules for tomorrow afternoon. Very, very extreme instability, and this is going to cause any storm, any shower that pops up to quickly become organized and to quickly become severe, and that is not good. Now, one thing that we do want to keep an eye on is the cap. Now, the cap for this afternoon on Friday, like I've already said, is going to be strong enough, I think, to keep thunderstorms and most showers from forming in our area. But I think that cap will break as we go into Saturday. There will be another cap on Saturday forming, but it's not going to be near as strong of a cap as you see here. The darker the colors are down here on your key, the bigger the cap is. Where you see the white, that is where that cap is broken. There is no cap available, and when you want thunderstorms to form, you want this white right here that is being shown on the map. Notice how we go into tomorrow afternoon. This would be 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. That cap is already beginning to break. And then as we go into tomorrow afternoon at noon, and then by 3 p.m., that cap is still broken, allowing for showers and thunderstorms to form in this area and move south and east into our neck of the woods, producing damaging winds, large hail, and possibly a few isolated tornadoes. So that cap is going to be pretty weak tomorrow morning, but it will break very quickly, I think, as we go into the later part of tomorrow afternoon. The surface-based lifted index, this is showing you how much lift we have. We will have a lot of lift to work with as well as we go into Saturday afternoon and evening. These are going to be very high. Usually you need around -6 to -8 or above, sufficient enough for severe weather, but we're going to be seeing values around -10 to -14 at their peaks. So that is going to be very, very good for the severe weather. Not good for the severe weather in terms of if you don't want the severe weather, but in terms of the severe weather forming, you want high surface-based lifted index values. And look at this as we go into the 3 p.m. hour on Saturday. Look at how much lift we have in the atmosphere. So these thunderstorms will have no problem forming quick updrafts, rotating updrafts as well, because we will have turning of the winds with height. That means that we will have winds coming in at different directions at different levels in the atmosphere, and that will create a spin, a rolling motion. And we also have shear to work with, which is what I was basically just talking about. Shear is what we need. We need shear, which causes and helps those thunderstorms to build, and we will have plenty of shear arriving just in time for those storms to be forming on Saturday afternoon and evening. The brighter the colors, the more shear you have. You can also look at these little tick marks, and this is showing you the more those little bitty tick marks are on that line, the higher the shear is. And so as we go into, sorry about that ad that popped up there, this will be 3 p.m. on Saturday. You can tell we do have a lot of shear available coming into the region, and it only increases as we go into Saturday night. You can tell some of those reds even popping up, and that will be associated with that MCS. And then as we go into Saturday morning, that shear will begin to continue with our area. I will need to mention that Sunday, the cold front will be coming through, but during the day on Sunday, we could see a reorganizing threat of severe weather very briefly. It would be really between 9 a.m. to around noon on Sunday when we would be looking at the potential for additional storms forming that could perk up to severe levels. We will have a few more ingredients, well, not a few more, but a few ingredients left on Sunday morning that that the atmosphere could very well work with and produce some quick severe storms. But the threat on Sunday does not look near as big as the threat will on Saturday evening and Saturday night. This is the last map I'm going to show you on this particular website, and this is showing you that turning of the winds with height. The red bar right here is the winds at the surface. You go up a couple more thousand feet, you've got that blue bar showing you where the winds are coming from, and that black bar is several thousand feet above the surface. So you want these to be as separate as possible. The more separated they are, the more the more directional shear you have, because you have thunderstorms that are being able to work with shear that is that where the wind is coming in at different directions, and that is causing that rolling motion, that spin in the atmosphere. And we do not want that, because that is going to cause very brief tornadoes to form on that line of thunderstorms on the MCS that comes through, and any supercells that form, they will have plenty to work with as well. And then as we go into 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, you can tell this is when that complex of storms would really be reaching the purchase area, I believe, of western Kentucky, and that would be 3 to 6 a.m. in the morning. Still, that directional shear being able to be worked with as well. I do want to show you one last thing, and that is what the Storm Prediction Center is showing right now. Let me go ahead. We'll take a couple of minutes to get all of this turned off real quick, and then let me show you what the Storm Prediction Center is showing. So this is day one. This is for this afternoon. It's pretty hard to tell on this map, but here's that light green. That is basically just for thunderstorms or showers. This dark green is a marginal risk, a very low risk for severe weather. That's the lowest risk you can have, and this is covering mainly portions of, this is covering people just north of my forecast area. I'm just covering the purchase area of western Kentucky. This is well north of my area, so I'm not too concerned about that, and that's mainly for that afternoon complex of showers and thunderstorms forming this afternoon, and then moving through those areas overnight tonight. Like I said, going north of our area. The only time that I'm worried about severe weather, and I'm even worried about storms in our region, is Saturday evening and Saturday night, where we do have an enhanced risk of severe weather. This does have the potential to be upgraded. There will be a couple of adjustments throughout the day today. Several adjustments will be made tomorrow during the day. So I will be updating through Twitter. I will also be updating. Through Twitter mainly. So make sure that you are aware of that. My Twitter account is @JacobWoodsWX. So make sure and follow that so you are up to date on the severe weather. I will be up on Saturday night when the severe weather comes through, covering the severe storms and how severe they are. So make sure that you have you know where you live. If you have any relatives coming in, they know where they are at, what county they're in, so that way they are aware when the severe weather comes through on this, unfortunately, Memorial Day weekend.